So picture this. You're right in the middle of a flight, cruising at 30,000 feet. Or maybe you're out on the road somewhere with absolutely zero internet connection, and you realize you desperately need an AI to help you draft a quick text, debug a piece of code, or summarize a massive document you just opened. Frustrating, right? Or, on a totally different note, have you ever caught yourself worrying about exactly how much of your behavior, your searches, and your clicks are being silently harvested by your browser just to build advertising profiles? Look, if you're nodding your head to either of those scenarios, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're diving into an explainer on a totally fascinating tool that is literally changing the equation. I'm super excited to introduce you to the Cronos Browser. It's built by a European company called AVALW, and it fundamentally rethinks how a browser is supposed to operate. Because instead of treating your privacy like some tiny toggle switch hidden 5 menus deep in your settings, Cronos makes privacy the actual foundational architecture of the application itself. It is a massive paradigm shift. Okay, let's quickly run through our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the modern browsing dilemma, how privacy is built into the architecture, that 100% offline AI, everyday power and performance, and then wrap things up with a few frequently asked questions. Let's jump right into section 1, the modern browsing dilemma. We all know the drill, right? We rely so heavily on cloud tools that our data is constantly traveling back and forth to remote servers, leaving us pretty vulnerable to data harvesting. Traditional browsers basically collect your data and then hand you a ridiculously long privacy policy, just promising they'll protect it. But Cronos, they take a wildly different approach. The tracking code simply isn't built in the first place, and they've completely replaced that traditional just trust us privacy policy with a live public telemetry dashboard. Let's break down how that actually works. Which brings us to section 2, privacy built into the architecture. The specific framework making this all possible is called privacy by architecture. Now, this isn't just a marketing buzzword. It's a literal engineering framework. With Cronos, the actual lines of code and the backend databases that would normally be required to store your browsing history, your location, or your identity, they were just never created. They're fundamentally excluded from the software's foundation right from day one. And here's the genius of it. Because the infrastructure to collect your personal data doesn't even exist, the threat of your behavior being leaked or sold drops entirely. I mean, you can't leak what you literally don't have. And that leads us to a really beautiful number, 0. That is the exact risk of your behavioral data leaking from their servers. It's also the exact number of personal behavioral profiles being built by their default search engine, AVALW Search. From the second you open the browser, there are 0 advertising profiles being built off your searches. So instead of just handing you a legal promise that you have to blindly trust, they give you verifiable evidence. Remember that public telemetry system I mentioned? Any strictly limited, anonymized technical data the browser does receive, we're talking basic crash reports to fix bugs or OS versions, is pushed to a live public dashboard that anyone can see. This means everyday users, researchers, and security experts can directly verify the browser's claims in real time. It completely shifts the burden of proof from a hidden promise to public, verifiable evidence. Moving right along to section 3, the 100% offline AI. So, how does this obsessive privacy mindset apply to artificial intelligence? Honestly, this is the browser's absolute biggest differentiator. Cronos features a 100% offline AI assistant. This isn't an AI that's pinging a server somewhere in a massive distant data center. The actual model for this AI is embedded directly inside the browser's installation file. When you put this side by side with standard AI, it's pretty mind-blowing. Standard cloud AI means remote servers, paying monthly subscriptions, messing around with API keys, and dealing with major privacy risks since you're sending your prompts over the open internet. But Cronos' local AI, it performs all of its computations strictly on your own device's CPU and RAM. That means 0 latency, absolute privacy, and not a single word of your conversations ever leaves your physical computer. And don't think for a second it's a stripped-down version. Without needing Wi-Fi or any crazy setups, this AI handles everyday tasks with incredibly high response speeds. You can draft and edit your emails, instantly summarize massive web pages, translate text across more than 100 languages, and even debug programming code. And again, all of this happens right on your local hardware. Next up, section 4, everyday power and performance. Look, a browser is only as good as its real-world utility, right? Are you a tab hoarder? Because if you are, how about keeping over 500 tabs open simultaneously without your system totally grinding to a halt? Chrome pulls this off with an intelligent RAM management feature called Neural Tab Hibernate. It basically recognizes which tabs are inactive and puts them to sleep, freeing up your system's resources so you can just keep on working effortlessly. Add to that a massive speed boost. Thanks to native built-in ad and tracker blocking, which, by the way, is active by default from your very first launch, your web pages aren't getting bogged down by invisible tracking scripts. Because of this, the browser runs so much lighter, and your page load speeds are improved by up to 4.7 times. That is huge. It's also fully equipped for power users right out of the box. Here is a rapid-fire rundown of what's built in. There's a stellar floating panel for easy multitasking over other apps, a dedicated gaming mode that prioritizes your CPU to keep your frames hitting 144 FPS. You've got a built-in 4K quality screen recording tool, automatic domain-based screenshots to keep your files organized, and the whole shebang includes a built-in password manager secured with the bcrypt encryption standard. It's an absolute powerhouse for everyday utility. And finally, Section 5, Frequently Asked Questions. To wrap up this explainer, let's do a quick lightning round to tackle the biggest questions you're probably thinking about right now. First step, with all these features, especially a local offline AI, is Cronos completely free? The answer is a definitive yes, 100% free. Downloading and using it, including that offline AI, comes with no hidden fees whatsoever. There are no paid tiers, no monthly subscriptions, and no features locked behind a paywall. Everything is accessible at no cost. Next question, which is super important for the developers watching, is it open source, and are my current extensions going to work? So the core engine of Cronos is built on Chromium. That means yes, it is fully compatible with all the extensions from the official Chrome web store. Your password managers, your ad blockers, your dev tools, they'll all work perfectly. Now, while the Chromium base is open source, proprietary components like their specific AI architecture have not been released as open source just yet. But the AVALW team offsets that by giving you complete operational transparency through that live public telemetry dashboard we talked about earlier. So what operating systems can you run this on right now? If you're on Windows, you can grab it via the Microsoft Store or the Chocolate Tea Package Manager. For mobile, it's available on the App Store for your iPhone and iPad. And if you're an Apple or Android user waiting on the macOS and Android versions, the team has stated that those are actively in development as we speak. Okay, last question. And this is a great one to clear up a very common misconception about browser privacy. Does Cronos replace your VPN? Simply put, no. While Cronos is absolutely incredible at securing your local data and stopping websites from tracking you, it cannot hide your actual internet connection. To completely mask your network IP address from your internet service provider, you definitely still need to pair it with a reliable VPN. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Are you ready to experience modern AI capabilities and exceptional performance completely independently without ever having to hand over your personal privacy to unknown remote servers? Because Cronos really does represent a massive paradigm shift in how we approach our software and our data security. Thank you so much for joining me today and sticking around for this explainer. Keep learning, stay curious, and I'll catch you on the next one.